Yo, welcome to another episode of Bringing the Business, man. Um, I got a guest in house today, man. That I'm trying to see how to word this, man. I'm gonna speak for myself. I was a baby or an infant in this podcast game, in this you know what I'm saying, in this media game, man. And this brother right here was there with me when I got my start. You know what I'm saying? He was actually referred to me and my group by a mutual friend. And you know when when somebody when you starting something and it's your baby or whatever like that, and somebody recommends somebody else, you be kind of hesitant sometimes. Like, hold on, man, I don't know, brother, I don't know this, that, and other. But we allowed this brother to come on, and I think that's been one of the best decisions that I and we could have made. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to our podcast game or our media, you know what I'm saying, situation. So without further ado, man, I want to welcome somebody who I look at, and we just figured out yesterday, what you say, 8 years? 8 years we've been
Eight
knowing each other?
years. 8 years.
8 years we've been knowing each other, man. And it's somebody I look at like under the big homie act, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Got a
That's
few
love.
years on me, man. So he'll tell you sometimes, just give him a call. Hey, B, what you think about this, man? Or what you think about that? So there's somebody who, like I said, I look at under the big homie act, man. And that's both in the media, in this media game, podcast game, and also just in the real life game. So without further ado, man, I want to welcome the founder and host of the End of the Bench. I ain't gonna just say podcast, the End of the Bench. What is it? Just
Media.
brand. It's a whole brand, man. So you know what I'm saying? I just want to welcome him in, my man Brian, man.
What's up,
Welcome
man?
in,
Good to
man.
be here. Good to be here. I watch you make this grow. I'm impressed. It's good to be, man. Thank you for having me on. It's always good. You know, as we say out west in Chicago, it's always a treat when players meet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the feelings are mutual, man. We've been supposed to get back and and link for a long time. So it's never too late, and obviously this is the perfect time. All
Oh
right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
man, how you been, man? What you got brewing, man? Because you keep some brewing in this thing, man. What tell the people?
Man, I just linked up with my homeboy out of South Carolina, and we combined our brands. He used to have Tiger Park Media, and of course my brand is the End of the Bench, and we started a Park Bench Media thing, and we got a couple shows in pre-production. He does a show called Wrap It Up Sports on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And he has two guys that he's pretty much the producer and the host. And I mean, he's Molly Crim on that show. And I do my show Build and Destroy every Tuesday. And then I have another combination with another network called BS3 on Monday nights. We do black movie reviews. We only do black movies. Either it have to be a straight black movie or starring black people. And then me and him.
How far do y'all go back when it comes to these movies?
Oh man, we do them all. We traditionally feature 3 weeks of newer movies and 1 week of a throwback movie. So, and we want our listeners to offer a movie. Like if you're thinking, hey man, I want to see y'all do Uptown Saturday Night. I want to see, like we've done Buck and the Preacher. We've done everything. We do everything from brand new to old as we can find. And me and him are on the 21st of this month. The 21st of this month, we're going to launch a new show. It's called The Front Porch, where
What's that about?
where conversation meets culture. We're going to talk about entertainment. We're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about the community. So we're going to, basically, when you and your homie sit on the front porch, that's what we're going to do.
So I
And
want
then,
I want this I want this to be just like that right
yeah,
now.
well, let's do it. Let's do
This
it.
session right here is gonna be just like kind of what you just described, man. Just two homies
Exactly.
sitting back. So I just a couple things. I just got back from Houston.
Okay.
I went to Houston for the weekend, and Houston was it was a ball. Houston don't owe me nothing. Like I had a damn
Did you
good
go to the
time in
turkey
Houston.
leg?
I didn't, and the only reason I didn't, I planned to. It was my fault. I planned to go on Monday because I was down there from Friday to Monday, and
Okay.
it wasn't open on Monday. When I got up Monday, like I'm going to Turkey, Monday is the day that it's closed, and I should have done that research. So next time I go back, I got to do that. And in the early 2000s, I had one of my good buddies move to Atlanta, and Atlanta was, obviously in the 90s and stuff like that, it was cracking. But the 2000s, the rap scene started growing a little bit, the club scene stuff. And Houston kind of gave me that vibe, man. Kind of gave me the vibe that I felt from, growing up, going back and forth to Atlanta back in them early days, man. And I was just talking to somebody today, and I don't want to be overreacting on this or whatever. But it was just and I know it's crime everywhere. I know it's a ghetto everywhere. It's hood everywhere. It's whatever. But I didn't get that same feeling that I get from being out in Chicago. Like brothers kind of, it was, hey, what's up, bro? How you feel, bro? What's going on, bro? You know what I'm saying? It was more of that. It wasn't, I didn't get the mean mugging. I didn't get the, you know what I'm saying? So like that. What you think about that? You think I'm tripping? Do you think I just
Not
didn't see
tripping.
it or
You
what?
just didn't go to the right areas because Houston a fast town, man.
Yeah.
Houston is extremely fast. So you being a tourist, you traditionally don't wander off into the areas in which people are disenfranchised. So like if you go to LA, you ain't about to go to Watts. You ain't about to go to Compton. You ain't finna stroll through South Central.
I'm gonna go because I'm that, like, my wife. She can't stand that shit. Every time we go somewhere, you always got to go to the hood. I want to see how the common folks live. So I did go to Fifth Ward. You know what I'm saying? And the other wards that I hear. Obviously, I'm going off. My favorite rapper Scarface. So I'm going off Scarface and Willie D and them talking about Fifth Ward
South
and everything.
Fork.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, you do see a difference when you go over there. It looks more like, all my life I grew up going back and forth to the South with my family, and them shotgun houses and all that type of stuff. You still see that in the hood down there. The rest of the city is being built up, but in them areas, it looked just like it did when I used to go to Alabama or Mississippi back in the day.
See, you go around those areas at the wrong time, and that's when you're gonna get some of that ice grill and that mean mugging. I mean, but this is a situation whereas if you put people in a situation where people don't have, you're gonna get crime. And that's just look, Rio de Janeiro, the murder capital of Earth. Because there ain't a lot of opportunities. People want to make it seem like, oh, Chicago is bad. No, wherever you have people with lack of opportunities, you're gonna have crime. You're gonna have dismay and violence. And that's just the bottom line. Look, trailer parks, why the crack epidemic was ravishing the Black community in the 80s and the 90s. White folks went and invented their own drug to get addicted to, meth. Right. So, you're on mute, I think, because I can't hear you anymore. But say something.
Yeah, you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
But so when you in disenfranchised, they in the trailer parks and they don't have. So crime is not exclusive to the Black community, contrary to the news media and things of that nature. So when you go to places without, you go run into people in dire situations. That's all that is.
Yeah. So speaking of crime and particularly in our communities and stuff like, how much do you think rap music or music, but I guess I'm gonna say rap in particular, how much do you think that influences, affects, is a driving force or anything like that to a lot of the crime that we see?
I would give it a very small percentage. It does play a role, but I would say a very small percentage, simply because everything that you interact with influences you. You be around a bunch of hoopers, you're gonna want to hoop. You might not even be good, but you're gonna want to hoop. You could be the worst basketball player in the world. If you keep going to the park keep seeing these dudes run up and down the court and it's looking good, you're gonna want to get up and hoop. So if you keep listening to violent and destructive music, you're gonna have a violent and destructive mentality. But it's just like if you've seen the movie Malcolm X, you see the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he's talking to Malcolm X, and he handed him 2 glasses of water. He poured some ink in one of the water. He said, if this all the people got to drink, they're going to drink it. But if you give them a clean glass, they're going to drink that. So the question should be more, is it the hip hop or is it the WGCIs of the world, the Hot 97s of the world, the big boy out there in the West Coast or 107, 102.7 in Atlanta? Is it them? Because when I was younger, I'm with you. I introduced folks to the Ghetto Boys. I'm one of the cats that introduced cats to the Ghetto. My homeboy, he like a little brother to me. He's 3 years younger than me. I introduced him to hip hop and I introduced him to the Ghetto Boys. And like you, Scarface, his favorite rapper. But we also listen to the Public Enemy. We also listen to BDP. We also listen to NWA. We listen to Spice One and CMW, Compton Most Wanted. We listen to X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers. We had a myriad of things to hear. Therefore, if you beat something, again, if you're only exposed to one thing, that's the thing that becomes normal in your mind. So it does play a role, but you also have to factor in environment. You also have to factor in education. You also have to factor in family and things of that nature. You are a product. In most cases, you are a product of your environment. So it's not it's not rap music exclusively or a large portion.
Now, look, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you what I often tell people. Mm-hmm. Rap music became rap music at its worst when white people and women dictate what's cool. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that. When we was coming up, all those groups you just named, all those artists you just named, right? Just say you kicking it with a chick, right? And you you kicking it with a chick, whether you and your guy, if you kicking it with a chick by yourself, you probably put you on some R&B or something. But just say you and your guys, or y'all kicking it with some chicks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If Public Enemy is the artist that you're listening to, like if that's what's usually in your tape deck, when the women come over there, y'all gonna be listening to Public Enemy. Mm-hmm. Y'all gonna be listening to NWA if that's usually what you listen to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And the women go adapt. You know what I'm saying to the music. You know what I'm saying? They gonna, like, you playing Public Enemy, and you get to playing. They gonna dance off of 911 as a joke, or those things. They gonna dance off of that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, when the women come over, you know what I'm saying, with the guy, you put on what they want to hear.
But see, the thing is, I see where you're going, but you have to also understand what else are the women hearing. See, the women, when we were coming up, they were hearing R&B, they were hearing New Edition, they were hearing Switch and all that stuff. And then, see, I'm old enough to remember when rap was like the way you hear the gangster music. That's how all rap was viewed. Right. All rap was trash. So you had a myriad of things. Man, like you probably hear about 12 songs in an hour. Mm-hmm. Bro, only one of those songs was rap when I was coming up. So we had, you hear a myriad of things, like I remember when hip hop was accepted in Chicago. Chubb Rock made hip hop accepted throughout Chicago because Chicago loved house music. Mm-hmm. He did that Treat 'Em Right song, and house people love that song, so they open their ears to rap at that point. So it's not really what women dictate what we do, man. Look,
but what I'm saying, so like, and not to cut you off, like, just say I could tell them guys, the artists and stuff you name, that you like me. Sometimes we do just like some trash, just some whatever. But for the most part, you like lyrics and you like substance in your music, right? But when that woman come over there, them girls come over there, they want to hear some booty popping music or some, some trap music or whatever the case may be. So you gonna put that shit on. And so same thing with the radio. That's what they're playing because people want to hit. And so the music no longer has to have substance. Long as it got that beat that's gonna rock and gonna make them people dance and this, that, and the other. That's what's gonna get
that's been the essence of radio since the word go. See, the thing is, the options have been slimmed down. You used to have Prince, used to have Michael Jackson, used to have R. Kelly, used to have Guy, used to have a myriad of artists. Now you got about 8 people that get played all the time.
Yeah.
I would look, man, why a lot of dudes wear the type of shoes they wear? Because women know the shoes. Why you dress the way you dress? Because women like that. Why you wear cologne? Because women like that. So I'm not gonna put it on the ladies. I will put it more on the system.
Yeah, and the system, and my point about the system, like you say, if you come in there and you talking that shit and you got some substance and you wake up my brother and this, that, and other, and then I come in there, man, but my shit sound good and it's gonna make that, they gonna push that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Like, so it ain't the women. That's all I'm saying is don't put that on the women. Because women like all kinds, man. Your wife, my old lady, they like all kinds of music. They like all kinds of music. But I won't put it, I'm telling you, it's the system. When you consistently give somebody poison, hey man, all of us like a good old Sunday dinner. But they tell you what, drive past a McDonald's on Sunday. The line longer than train smoke, because that's what's easy. That's what's quick. And that's what it is. It's not the ladies adapting because, look, ladies and men are like dogs chasing their tails. We chasing them because we like them and we gonna adapt to them, and they trying to adapt to us. That's been going on since the word go. But when you allow a capitalistic machine to control your entertainment, they are going to do what's destructive to you and productive to the bank accounts for their bank accounts. That's the problem.
So what do you think about the artists? Like when we came up, they said, don't get high on your own supply, things of that nature. And now it's do a line, pop a pill, bite that. You know what? What do you think about the artists?
Hey, man, they was getting high back then too. Yeah. Hey man, okay, watch this. Do you know what one of Method Man's nicknames is?
What?
Tikal, right? Remember he the Tikalian Stallion.
Name of the album and everything.
Tikal is?
You know
what Tikal mean?
I don't.
Lace it backwards. He talking about putting cocaine in his weed, man. So see, it's nothing changed. It's just disguised better. You listen to some old Nas, they talking about, you hear Wu-Tang, who's smoking Woolers. That's cocaine in your weed, man. So see, it was disguised better. Like hip hop has always been more like a Negro spiritual type of situation, right? We saying stuff that if you're in the culture, you know it. But if you're outside the culture, it's going over your head. Negro spirituals, they been telling people how to escape through the Underground Railroad. But white folks didn't know that. Look at it this way. I'm gonna give you the greatest example of hip hop speaking to hip hoppers, but not the world. Remember LL used to do that Gap commercial? He turned it into a FUBU commercial. He rapping. When you get a chance, go to the LL Gap commercial. That joker said, for us, by us. In the middle of a national Gap ad. He threw FUBU in there. And then it was so popular, hip hop loved it so much, when we was like, man, check that out. That was dope. LL doing Gap. But we wasn't saying LL was doing Gap. We were like, LL plugging FUBU. They never knew it. You know what they did? They signed him to another contract. So it's nothing new It's just the variety has been, and then you put it like this, like you from the South Side, I'm from the West Side. You get somebody off the Ida B's or the Ickies or Robert Taylor, or you get somebody out of Rockwell or Henry Horn or the Village, and you say you can make $300,000 or you can make $3 million. Who taking the 300,000?
Nobody.
Nobody, especially when you don't have leadership. That music industry is the devil himself. It is. The music industry been raping our folks since they created it. And the sad part is we ain't never stopped and said, like, people be like, man, Puffy be cheating people. No, Puffy using the same contract that Clive Davis used. He using the same contract that Jimmy Iovine used. That's what, in my opinion, that's the only thing he wrong with. Rewrite that contract and make sure everybody get a cut, man. But he using standard music industry contracts. To me, that's the only wrong he's doing. But if you know this is a farce, a scam, some straight BS, and you still sign it, is he wrong for doing it, or you stupid for signing?
But like you say, if I don't have shit,
hey,
and I get what you said. Look at the big. But if I don't have shit and you dangle 100,000 in my face, and think about this. Think about, and again, I don't want to just put this on our people because I'm pretty sure a lot of other people
everybody getting screwed that way.
But like we think that type of money be money. Money that people with money laugh at or do whatever. We think is money. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like I get, like for instance, do you remember a few months ago during the NBA season? I think it was like a lot of the Memphis rappers was at the Memphis Grizzly game.
Mm-hmm.
And they sit in front row and they throwing money on the floor. Mm-hmm. It kind of looked like they shooting dice, but I don't think they went that far. But they just doing that. And and I know they hood rich or whatever the case may be. So they at that game with what, 50,000 maybe at the most between them. And it's some of them millionaires and billionaires sitting behind them like, y'all out there throwing that bullshit, but that ain't no money.
I'll give you a better example. About 8 years ago, Marcus and Jeffrey Jordan went to Vegas, and for the weekend, they blew $50K. They like, hey, man, Jordan kids blew $50,000 each, and everybody was up in arms. And Jordan's sitting up going, I was doing that too. So you're right, it's nothing.
And he was doing that 30 years ago.
Thank you. He was doing that at age older than 30. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. It is pennies. It's like a small thing to a giant. But again, that's why I say if it's anything wrong Diddy doing, it's using them same tactics. Why would you use the tactics of people who raped you? You're a rapist now. If you're taking advantage of people, you are not better than the people who took advantage of you.
Well, I guess it's hard. I mean, it's morally wrong, or the morally right thing to do is to, once you get raped and you come up out of it, to not do somebody else. But it seems like people be like, well, shit, I got to get mine back, or you know what I'm saying? It seems like that's the mentality of the person once they come out of their raping, I guess.
But again,
you know what I'm saying?
you're taking on the characteristics of your oppressor at that point. Look, man, what I'm about to say, people may perceive as racist or what have you, and I'm sorry if you believe it that you view it that way. But we're looking at a culture. We're taking on the characteristics of a culture that works from a sense of lack. Europe worked out of a sense of lack. That's why you got the terms like CP time. You know why we move at a slower pace? Because when you're in the Caribbean, when you're on the continent, when you're in South America, the average temperature is 80 degrees. We could plant stuff. They could plant something in January, February, March, April, May, and in a few weeks, it's going to be there. But when you're on that rock called Europe, you have to plant in March or April, and you had to harvest by October because the weather was going to kill everything else. So they're working from a mentality of lack. When you work from a mentality of abundance, then you share, because what's the big deal? Like King Mansa Musa used to roll with 70,000 people draped in gold, handing out gold. You know why? Because I'm the richest man in the history of the world, even to this day. So why am I hoarding my money? It's only money. It's only dirty paper. You know, like it's this MC, God rest his soul, named Sean Price. He say money ain't thing, says the guy who rich, but the broke motherfucker screaming life's a bitch. But when you got it, it ain't no problems. I'm gonna ask you this, and we can move forward. Check this out. It's a riddle. Answer this riddle. Rich people don't want it. Poor people got it. They got it. God don't have it, and if you eat it, you'll die.
Rich people don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
Say the whole thing again. Rich people don't want it.
Rich people don't want it. Poor people got it. God don't have it, and if you eat it, you'll die.
What is it?
Nothing. Rich people don't want for nothing. No. Poor people ain't got nothing. God don't, it ain't nothing God don't have. And if you eat nothing, you die. And that's the key to life, man. You must work from a sense of assisting you. Like I'm helping you coming on your show. You help me by watching my show. I watch your show. And because we not working from a sense of lack, we working from a sense of us. We taking on the characteristics of the people who captured us. So that's why we screw each other, because it's millions. Man, I can give you chapter, book, and verse about things that once you do it so many times, you start doing it. See, you ain't gonna get me. But the more we intertwine with the other cultures, the more we get left out. Think about it, man. You start hanging with your white homeboys. I don't want to hang around them hood dudes no more, because I'm above that. Or you get 50 cents and the brother's got a nickel. You like, hey man, I got to get out of here because it's bad over here. No, it was bad over here when you get, but you stay and you be the shining star. And I don't mean flaws. You be the example. You be that dude, hey man, Mr. Cook got a slick car. I'm going to be like Mr. Cook. I'm going to be like Mr. Williams. And people, I don't want to do that because these niggas crazy. No, they not. They don't know.
See, you just segued into, you just went into the next segue without even knowing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know I did. I know I called you before and asked you your opinion, like from a baseball standpoint. Right. And I told you where should I put my children when it comes to playing baseball in particular, was the conversation, but just sports, period. And I right now have my son where I grew up at. I got him over there, and I got my daughter in the burbs close to where I live. So I got him in two different places, because when she's playing softball right now, when she finish up, they play baseball in the summer, so it works out for us. But I don't want to poo-poo. I'm not gonna name them, and I don't want to poo-poo on it. But it's like you could just see a big difference when it comes to organization, when it comes to just all of that. And so, as a parent,
let me interrupt you. I ain't got no time constraint. You had said a small period of time. So
you need me to go. Okay. Yeah, we can go. All right. So, so when I take them over there, right? So I part of me, like I said, this is where I grew up at. This is where my friends played at. This is where, so part of me want to help this community that's struggling, right? But then it's like, I'm sitting here watching my son, kind of like I'm gonna give example. Last week I went over there, and they're in practice, so they in the batting cage. So they lack coaches. You know what I'm saying, like that. So they work. He said, "Okay, we're gonna work on hitting today." It's 13 kids on the team,
Mm-hmm.
He giving each kid 5 to 10 balls that he pitching at them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The other 12 are sitting on the bleacher waiting on their turn instead of working on their game. My son just happened to be the last kid. I wasn't tripping on that. He happened to be the last kid. So for an hour and 15 minutes of practice, he sat on the bleacher.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like he's not getting better doing that.
You're not
So
getting
it's
better,
like,
right?
so am I sacrificing my child for the vision that I'm seeing of making this program better? So
Okay.
what I did, real quick, what I did, because it's easy to sit back and say what's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and talked to the coach. I went and talked to the person that's over it. You know this about me. I'm not a baseball guy, but I know sports, so I know the basics of damn near any sport, the basic. So as of yesterday, I'm one of the baseball coaches.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like still, I could take him over there where they get these other coaches for real that instead of a dad that don't really know baseball, but just willing to put his hand in the pot.
That's the thing though, Cook. What we have to start doing, and the beauty is this. What I'm about to explain is what is the reason I'm here. You said, hey B, you be dropping gems on me. So I want you to drop some gems on my audience. So I came and helped you.
Right.
Neither one of us is Bob Costas or Ahmad Rashad or any of those dudes. But guess what? Me and you came together and we enhancing your show. It's not a sacrifice. I get it that we want the best for our children. But what we have to do is we can't wait to April to say, hey man, they gonna need some help. Now it's your job. I'm gonna give you a phone number when we get off the air because I know a president of a league, and their league is popping and it's Black run, and they might be able to help y'all. And that's what I said I was gonna do. With my program, I do the Rapping with H-Rap on Friday, where I interview individuals from the community so their stories could be told. I'm gonna do Get Off My Lawn sports from an old man perspective. We're gonna do the front porch, and I do the build and
That's the
destroy.
one you told me about. That's the one I said at the beginning. Like, I know you had something else brewing. That's what I was talking about. Okay.
So what I've decided to do, I've already reached out to some of my homeboys from athletic backgrounds, from community empowerment backgrounds, and I've been wasting all these people that I know doing it on my own. We as a community have to start asking Brian Cook, hey, you don't know baseball, but you know what? What I'm gonna need you to do is watch some of them baseball videos, and then me and you and Chip and Styles, we're gonna go over to the XYZ League and we gonna volunteer. Because see, what we have to do is get that Cook mentality. Our community has to look, you could have complained, you could have called me CB, man, and that wouldn't have gotten anything done. But guess what? Now you're going to be hitting ground balls to them, and they're going to be working on fielding while he's working on hitting. They're going to be working, and it becomes a cyclical thing. Then you ask Fred over here, Fred, you used to play baseball. Come over here with me. And then one thing, I'm a former baseball player. One thing about former baseball players, when we hear young brothers baseball, let me go. I got a homeboy who live in the south suburb. He live in Lansing right now. Do you know this joker? Every week he called me with a video, and me and him and his son watched that video. And I tell Chris Alexander, when his son was playing baseball, he'd be like, look at this. And I say, tell him get off his toes. Tell him sit down. And he was like, sit down. I say, nuh-uh. You need to be flat. You need to have a base. People think you lift 50,000 weights and then that's going to help you hit the ball over the fence. No, bat speed makes you hit the ball over the fence. I know that as a former baseball player. I can help you with your son with that. And that's how we get better. We got thousands of men in this city who used to play baseball, that love baseball, that me and you both know that have probably got the time to do it. We got elders, we got older men, our fathers, our grandfathers that used to be cold-blooded at baseball. We ain't even tapped into that. But what we'll do is sit back and say, see, brothers don't be helping. Who you ask? I bumped into this young brother. He was dissing Black Lives Matter. I don't got no ties to Black Lives Matter. I don't really rock with Black Lives Matter. But he was dissing them. I say, okay, who did you contact with Black Lives Matter? They supposed to be there. I said, but who did you contact? They know. It's obvious. I say, did you contact anybody? Man, see, you one of them niggas, man. I'm like, bruh, you could complain about them, but if you've never asked for their help, why you expect them to be there? And that's what we have to get out of. See, who did Dr. King contact? You know who Dr. King? He got contacted by the Southern Christian organization. He got contacted by SNCC. And then they came together and started a movement. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was under Marcus Garvey. He also knew Malcolm X's daddy, Earl Little. They were in the same crew. So he said, I'm going to stop the Noble Drew Ali. They all started their own thing. But instead of reinventing the wheel, we need to realize, oh, the wheel worked. Now let's go get form and we can get this thing rolling. You did what we need to do. Instead of complain, get involved.
What happened in our community with baseball?
What happened with baseball? It became too expensive for us to do, man. And then, look, let's be honest, man. It's just like the music. You want the possibility of 300 million or a real good chance at $400,000, 2 million, 3 million. Because see, when I'm the number one, if I'm Mr. Basketball in the state of Illinois, or if I'm a McDonald's All-American, it is a very good chance I'm gonna be a millionaire. Yeah, it's a very. I could be the number. You see the Derek Jeter documentary. Derek Jeter said he was the third player picked and almost didn't make it. So we again, it goes with look. One of the great things about being Black, we spiritual people. We're spiritual people. We love the Lord. The Lord preaches patience at all times. See, we love to quote God, but we don't like to follow God. So baseball is a slow grind. But see, we, unlike other cultures, and because it comes out of struggle, remember I told you, when you work out of struggle and lack, you do chaotic things. Other cultures say, you could be a baseball player. And then you know what they do? And if you don't make it, you can coach. Missouri just hired the first Black coach in the history of SEC baseball. We don't teach our children, hey man, look, Cook, look, Brian, you a solid baseball player. You a solid hooper, but you real good at math, or you know the game. So why don't you do your very best? And if that don't fail, you could be a coach. You could be a physical therapist and stuff like that. It don't work that way. We don't tell our children that there are other ways. We don't teach our kids to be coaches. We don't teach our kids to be medical people in sports. We don't teach our kids to do those things in sports. What we do, hooper, football player. We don't teach coach. So we get left behind.